Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go.
Hello and welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Teige and I'm just a co-host today for the amazing Tina Paulus-Krause as well as Courtney Paulus. So grateful to have you both here and so grateful to be in full celebration mode still. So much has transpired. And just to, have this moment, have this episode to really dive into the greater work that's being done and that grand vision and all of the big juicy projects coming everyone's way. So thank you so much for being here, you two, and again allowing me to co-host. This is going to be a beautiful conversation about the future and where everything is headed. So super honored to be here, and yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Teige. Thank you for
Hello,
being
hello.
here.
Definitely. So to start off the conversation, just wanted to really dive into, how we're feeling in the current moment with all of these really big, grand visions coming to fruition right here, right now, every single day. Just wondering, I guess, where you guys are feeling, where you guys are at, and let's take a minute to check in, and we can fly into the future.
Take it away, Mom.
Okay, awesome. How am I feeling? I have all the feels, right? Like it's been a long time coming. So there's this impatience that's been there forever. And now we're moving into it, and surreal and proud and just all the feels, really, really all the feels. It's been a long journey. It's been all the things. And here we are, here we are. It's amazing. I can't wait today when we had our 100th celebration, Teige, and you led that conversation. We talked a lot about what we're doing and where we're going. And I think where we wanted to go today was really just Courtney and I and our evolution and what that looked like. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get into that conversation.
The grand vision.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to acknowledge Courtney too, because there was a long time when, being here and being public and being in front of the camera and all that kind of stuff, I know that that's not always the most comfortable for you. And I just want to really honor you for being here and being seen.
Yeah, thank you. Even to this day, I'm sweating. I get really nervous, but I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for us and what we're bringing to the table, bringing to the world. And obviously authentically showing up means that you're sweating and nervous, So I'm really excited to share. I'm ready to share with the world, with the internet, so to speak, what we're doing.
Which is amazing. For me, when you ask me, Tage, how I feel about that, I've been in waiting, right? I've just been here waiting, growing myself, growing the business, growing all this stuff. And then now Courtney's ready to join in all of that. And it's super surreal. I'm like, oh my God, here we are. This is amazing. And so we have just so much to do and so much to create, and so many lives to impact. I'm really excited about our vision and our future.
Absolutely. And how beautiful, to go through that whole story in episode 100 of everything that you guys have gone through until this point. And then we get to really bring it into presence and say, okay, here's where we're at today. And Courtney, I'm not going to blaze right past you here, because I know that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Tina, for sharing, because that is it's just so heartfelt and so grounded and nourishing, to know that you two get to come together and really build together and create that grand vision. But then Courtney, how are you feeling? Not just today in the recording, but how are you feeling coming up on this big shift?
Yeah, and the big shift it is. I've been having visions of this big shift for as long as I can remember. So, and I just came out of 4 days going completely offline, connecting to the land here. Whew, I can feel it. I don't know if you guys can feel it when I talk, or you can, sense it, but what we're doing is big, and we've been behind the scenes for a long time, in our own journey, in the darkness and now in the light and merging all of that. And so, of course, I'm nervous. I'm nervous to be public about our story. That means we get to be transparent and vulnerable. There's nothing hiding, whether it's the good or the bad. So for me, to stay grounded, um, and feel those emotions. Before I would just kind of bypass the emotions. And so now I have to like remind myself, like, oh my, I'm nervous right now, but I have to remind myself that I'm nervous because I'm feeling. I'm not numb to this experience anymore. I'm fully here, present and committed. So I am committed to my mom, to Tina, and through these podcasts, it's really fun to be a part of them, but then to kind of look back at them as well. So I know that, through our journey, we can have a lot of stories. We can go into all this stuff, even what we're doing here on the land now. But it's important for us to show up, I think, in the moment with people. And then that's where those questions are presented, because not everyone knows us. We can sit here, us three, we've been through this journey, together for the last few years. So a lot of it is unspoken. We just kind of know what we've been through and what we've learned. And now I just see it expanding 100-fold, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. And that scares me so much. But at the same time, like, who wouldn't it scare? Let's be real. So I am fully present here today with you guys, even if that, means we're going to be emotional, if that means we're going to tell some vulnerable stories. But we get to kind of be present. We talk about our past and a lot of people ask about our past, but I want to make sure people are present with us, in our story and what we're doing today. So that's really important to me. And I want to voice that. And also thank you, Teige, for being a part of this, joining forces, and I mean forces, joining forces with us, because it takes a strong soul to do so and to go into what we're going into. So thank you.
Thank you. So honored and grateful just to be in this space and also to be assisting in that grand vision. Like this is something, and I know, Courtney, you pointed this out in episode 100, like this is something far greater than us.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it lives within all of us. So, for this to actually be coming to life and, coming to this, it's almost like it feels like the top of the mountain, essentially. And like we don't have to live at the top of the mountain all the time. We get to come down, we get to help others up, be in that upliftment. So by all means, this is in full alignment with everything that I feel like humanity is really moving towards. So, to be at that leading edge, and really, really pushing the boundary, so to say, of what is just very exciting to me. And I think that's where there's the excitement and then there's the nervousness, but they get to coexist, we get to feel it all. So by all means, like, I feel like I'm more in that excitement energy of like, yes, okay, like we're here, we're going, we're, flowing. But yeah, getting down into those details, I really would love to hear about where things are at now, in the sense that, forces have already now been joined and we've been working together for a while now. But to hear either of your perspective, ultimately, chime in whenever, but wondering just, not where it's coming from. We know where it's coming from, it's all grounded, it's all heart-centered, it's all that leading edge. But then to see this come to fruition, what does that look like for both of you? Not just on your day-to-day, but moving into, okay, Courtney, you're creating space, holding space on the land, and then to bridge and have people come into their leadership on a new level, Tina, it's really powerful, but also, the reason to take tactical steps, and have that strategy behind everything. So I guess I
Yeah.
just you're in the day to day, like you're moving and grooving, but what does that coming together look like for both of you?
Yeah, take it away, Mama.
You talk about climbing the mountain, and I literally, like, part of my whole journey was literally, and Courtney mentioned it in the last episode, climbing a mountain. And so I think that there's a saying out there that hurt people, which is where we were, right? As a relationship, right, Courtney? I mean, we were hurting each other, we were hurting ourselves. It was the programming, it was what we thought was what it was. But there's this thing that happens when you take yourself on and you start to search and research and develop and learn new tools and all this and start to climb that mountain, because that's what happens. Like, oh, this tool helps me unlock this. Oh, awesome. Oh, this tool helps me unlock this. Great. Awesome. Right. And so all of a sudden you're at the top of this mountain, and the next day it's another mountain, and the next day it's another mountain, and the next day it's another mountain, because the work doesn't ever end. Right. It doesn't ever end. There's always a next level. And it gets to this point where hurt people. And now that and when we transform, now transform people can transform people. So yeah, we've climbed the mountain, and now we get to help others climb that mountain. Because for me, I didn't understand or realize that the work even existed, right? Like, I was just kind of taking life as it came, and what happened, and just thinking, this is just my life. This is just what it is, I guess. And when we start to turn that perspective around and start to really heal ourselves from the inside out, we now have the capacity to start to heal other people. And Courtney and I each went in our own separate directions to do that for ourselves, right? Like, we each went on our own journey in our own way. And it wasn't easy, and we didn't always understand each other, but it's what happened. And now we're able to come back together. Like, I literally remember a conversation that we were having, because I've always had this dream of a transformation center, always. Like, and it's changed and it looks different. It doesn't look today like what I envisioned it, but I knew it was a transformation center. I knew it was a space where people could come and transform, where people could, like, block everything out and come to do that. And so today, where we had this conversation, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, whenever it was, and it was like, oh my God, we have, like, the same vision. Like, we're literally on the same page. And it was like, we're for the first time in our life, we're aligned and we're on the same page. And it took all of the work for us to get to that moment, for us to be able to get into lockstep to actually create together. Right. And so now today we get to create together, and we get to continue climbing the mountain, and we get to help other people climb the mountain, and we get to build the freaking mountain, right? Like, we're building the mountain so that everybody gets transformation. Everybody gets to create transformation, and we're creating the spaces to do that. And so we never, like, it doesn't look like what I thought it would 7-8 years ago. I've not been attached to the outcome, but I've been attached to the vision. And the day that Courtney and I realized that our vision was actually the same vision, like, that lit me up. I was like, let's go. Let's go. So that's kind of my perspective of where we're at right now. I would love to hear yours, Courtney.
Yeah, definitely. I love you so much. And
love
I
you
can
too.
just, every time we talk about this, I can just feel it. And so I know that this has so much purpose in it. And we are intentionally birthing a new era. That's big stuff, you know? And so, whew, again, I need to kind of ground into that, because daily, every day we wake up and we have our intentions, we have our focus, we have created a dream team to be able to hold each other, literally held in reverence, to be able to coach and transform. But there's something new here. And that's kind of where I'm sitting. And that's why I've gone offline the last few days. That's why we did our 100th episode, and we could have sat there for hours,
Yeah.
expressing. So today, it's like the energies of today are very short and sweet. It's get our work done, go outside, enjoy ourselves. We've created the life that doesn't look like what everyone else is doing, but it's because it's like the path, we're leading a path that hasn't been built yet, that hasn't even been walked yet. And so for me, it's intentionally waking up every day and looking at our priorities, making sure that our land is ready to hold people at their highest and not surrender, and not kind of downplay that, to really show up for these people that are ready to transform, and this is a ripple effect. I see us running up the mountain, some people are taking a little longer. But when you're saying we're at the top of the mountain, I see people like plunging in and making ripple effects, and other people aren't ready and they're getting hit with this, new energy and this transformation. And it's taken years for me to see the effects, when people are really showing up. And we've had a lot of people show up in the last couple of years for us, Tage included. So
Yes.
we are here, we're ready. Every day is going to look different. We're committed, to whatever that looks like. For me, it's a dream to be able to be by your side, doing this. I have to like pinch myself literally on the daily, because
Ditto.
it's a dream come true. And it
Yeah.
took a lot of work to get here. And I'm not saying it's not going to be hard work, because that's why I get up every single day, is to be a better person, and to be a better person with you, and to be a better person with our team, and with my family and our family. We're creating communities, and that doesn't happen overnight. So my patience has been tested a lot. Our dreams may not look like we thought they were going to look like. To me, it's better. I
Totally.
never thought that this dream could come true, and it's not a dream, it's our reality, it's our
Yes.
life. So I am committed to showing up every day, whether that's on our podcast here, whether that's, on our websites in person. I won't be doing the speaking engagements. You can call Tina Paulus-Krause for that. I like the behind the scenes, that makes me happy. And so any kind of support, I want anyone listening to this call, we can talk about our relationship and how we've grown and been through it. But if you're connected to this, if you're attracted to the energies, if something, hits you differently and you want to transform and change, maybe that's in your relationship with family. I know a lot of people with their parent-child dynamic, a lot of people have been coming to us. And that's why we create what we create. We offer what we offer. So if there's anything, anyone listening to this, if there's anything you need, we're not afraid to create that, and
Yeah.
to build it and to stand by you. Why getting all caught up and being all sentimental here. Why you guys, while you create it, while we create it, this new era is bringing something that I don't know if we're prepared or ready for yet, but we have our boots on the ground. So
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Absolutely. And we're being prepared in every moment,
yeah.
until we recognize and realize, oh goodness, like, Courtney, Tina, like, you look at each other like, wait, this is the same vision.
It was
But it's not
crazy.
until you get there,
Yeah.
not until you
Yeah.
get there.
We would say
And
the same exact thing. And we were on, we felt like we were on totally different planes or planets,
and we were for a lot of years.
We were, and we had to really learn the communication and then come back and really, say, hey, we're saying the same thing. We're speaking the same language.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah. I
almost
mean,
like
what's,
we built the bridge to the mountain, you know?
yeah.
Mm.
And it honestly, like it started with me as the parent. And here's why I say that, because as Courtney was growing up and really struggling through and with a lot of things, um, I didn't always handle things right, right? Like we all have our generational stuff that we bring with, we all have our programming that we bring with. I had a lot of very toxic habits, right? And I was ignoring those toxic habits. And those toxic habits were, I was teaching my kids those toxic habits. And until I was willing to look myself in the mirror and say, Tina, you're toxic, nothing was ever going to change.
That's
Right?
generational healing right
It's
there.
generational healing, and everything that you were talking about, Courtney, when you were talking, like I just kept thinking generational healing, because when people take themselves on, you literally heal the 7 generations before you and the 7 generations after you, right? And when I could start to say, you know what, like my kids deserve a better mom. My kids deserve a mom that shows up for them. My kids deserve something different. And until I was willing to face those demons, until I was willing to really accept where my shortcomings were and start to work on those to change them around, I was continuing to get the same results in life, personally and professionally. Right. And so taking them on, looking in the mirror and going, yeah, you are yelling at your kids. Yeah, you are taking everything out on the people that you love. Yeah, the people that you love are the people that are not the farthest away from you, right? Like really looking at those relationships. It's all about relationship. And it started with the relationship to myself. Once I started having a relationship with myself, I didn't even know what loving myself meant. Like the first time somebody asked me if I love myself, I was like, what? Like, what does that even look like or mean? Like, isn't that selfish? Like, I'm not supposed to love myself. I literally have been taught in my life that like that's selfish. And we can't love, I could not love Courtney any more than I love myself. And she was feeling that. My kids were feeling that. And so when I was able to like just take that on and accept it and get out of shame and get out of blame and just accept it and go, okay, great, new day. It's a new day. I get to rewrite where this story is going. I get to have control over the ending of this story because the ending of the story wasn't looking good. My kid was at rehab and my other kid was on his way, right? Like it wasn't looking good. And so I said, I'm so adamant about this. And I feel like I get on like my pulpit, right? When I go here, because so many people are pretending not to know. I was pretending not to know. I would say that my kids were the most important thing to me, but I would turn right around and work 100 hours a week. So for me, it was about taking a look at my own toxic habits and taking myself on. And when I did that, I immediately could start building a relationship with my daughter. I immediately could start getting closer to her and start to create that. But until I was willing to take myself on, Teige, nothing was going to change.
Absolutely, as is the truth with everyone, like, and thank you so much for bringing up, the depth of love that you have for yourself is the depth of love that you're able to receive, and until you get to that point, I think that as a society, we've all been kind of herded and corralled into this mindset somehow of, well, no, you can't do that because it's selfish, when in actuality, that creates a betterment within yourself so that you can show up for others, and for us to all be working collaboratively instead of in this like industrialized, society, we get to break away and really create. And it's so wild when you say it's a new day, because what rings true in my mind is a new day really does require a new way,
Totally.
just as you said.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can I,
And not,
oh, yeah.
go
Yeah.
ahead, honey. No, go
No,
ahead.
well, and I was gonna, because we were talking about the present earlier and looking at the past, when we were in our darkest, when we were in that bottom, whew, other people are there. We didn't have that support, we didn't have the best insurance. We didn't have all the money in the world, Mom, you helped me save my life. And in doing that, you saved your life. We saved our family's life. But I don't want to dismiss the fact that we had to go against all odds.
Yeah.
We called everyone in America, we called everyone in the world for help. And no one helped us, Tage. No one did, because we didn't have the insurance, because we didn't have the money or the connections. The people with mental health, the children with mental health, with addiction problems, those are the people we need to help and be there for, and not just push them to the side. I remember them saying, oh, you can be here in 30 days. I didn't have 30 days, Tage. And
Yeah.
my mom knew that, we knew that.
Yeah.
And so we pulled all of our tools. And so today, the fact it's still the same, how many years later, the system's broken. But that doesn't
Totally.
mean we get to stop, in our tracks. That means we get to pull in our support and have those coaches like you are now, have these podcasts that go, oh, you're listening in your car today and you're driving down the road and going, oh my gosh, you're right, there isn't help, but I stopped. I didn't help my kid. Our story now is that we are evolving because we helped ourselves, because we're creating the programs, we're creating that change and transformation. So my hope is that in the future that we can stand strong for all families and all communities and assist them in the ways they need to be assisted.
Yeah, that's so powerful, Courtney, because here's what happened And it happened with both you and Tanner, right? Like when addiction is present. So I gotta like get my shit together because I'm gonna get emotional. Like when addiction is present, and in those moments when that addict finally comes to the mind space, and normally it's at the end of a binge, right? Finally comes into that space where they're like, I'm ready for support. I'm ready for treatment. I'm ready for whatever. I'm ready for something different, a new way. I'm ready. Here's what happens. We start looking for help. And so we start calling 800 numbers, and we start calling treatment centers, and we start calling all the people and all the things that we're supposed to do. And what do we get up against? What's your insurance? What's your insurance? I'm private paying. Like I'm literally private paying. And in that moment, I wanted, like, my dream on my bucket list is to start an 800 number. And if anybody's listening to this and can start it quicker, go. But I want to start an 800 number called In the Moment. So that in that moment, when you're ready for support, you get support. Because guess what? 3 days later, when you finally get all my insurance information, is too late for that addict. They're already back on it, right? So like, I'm super passionate about the fact that like when an addict is ready for that support, they get to have the support. Because how many times, Courtney, how many times were we at that point, right? Like so many times that we're at that point, and in that moment, as a parent, as an addict, whatever it is, I can't find what it is that I really need. I wanted somebody to talk to her. I wanted a professional just to talk to her in that moment. I wasn't a professional, and now I could talk to somebody in that moment. Absolutely, bring them on. But in those moments 8 years ago, I did not have the capacity to support her in the way that she needed that support. And so our system is broken, Courtney. I agree with that so much. Our system is important. Thank God you went to 30 days of rehab and it's stuck, right? Like, thank God. But I think of the millions of other people who go again and again and again and again because they're not getting the support that they really need.
Exactly. And at home, the whole system.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, Courtney, you could have gone to rehab, and if I would have gone through my own transformation, we would not be who we are today. Exactly. You would be thriving, and I would still be like in an unhappy life in a place where I don't belong. Right? Like, so again, it's about relationship and trust and perseverance and keeping going. And we went through all the things to get to where we are today. It wasn't easy. It was hard in all the ways. And we kept going. And we kept going, and we will keep going, and we will keep building, and we will keep creating spaces for people to come and transform. It's our vision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and in that, having gone through all of that and building this for like, I'm hearing from both of you that heartfelt commitment to say, no more will the system fail people, because it's not about a system, it's about community. It's about showing up for ourselves so that we may show up for others. And in that way, just want to really highlight what is being built and what has already been created and has been years in the making, despite knowing that all of it was going to come together in one glorious, community. Like, it really is coming together in that community, in that family feeling, for anyone out there who doesn't have the support of their family, who maybe their family isn't ready to transform, isn't ready to look at their shadows, isn't ready to dive deep and dig up all of those things and resurface to even, address those things. To know that you have a space of people, a huge community, it's far greater than we can even imagine, of people that will show up and hold that space with you, loving, like unconditionally loving, regardless of anything that had happened. So by all means, like, for everyone who doesn't have someone, this is a community being created in order to cultivate that within yourself and within that community, to really stand up, show up, lead in whatever way as long as that's heartfelt, you know, it's heart led, it's inspired by how alone you may feel,
Mhm.
you know,
It
how
actually
alone
is.
people feel leads them to the community that they need to find. So,
Right. Well, it's what created your leadership legacy, right? Like we are leaving a legacy. I was leaving a legacy before I transformed. I was leaving the legacy that my kids were going to grow up and yell at their kids and be workaholics and, you know, live in the matrix just like I did, right? Like that's the legacy I was leaving. So we choose our legacy. How we live is creating a legacy. Is it the legacy that you intend?
mhm.
Are you aware of it? So it's all about awareness. I wasn't aware of the legacy that I was leaving. Today, I'm very aware of it. Doesn't mean that I'm perfect in my behavior. Doesn't mean that I still don't yell every now and then, right? But like I catch myself and I have the tools to come back to my heart, which is where I choose to live today.
You're amazing. I love you. And we get to remember that life happens. You know, we have these big grand visions and we are so present in that we pivot. You know, if it doesn't work, we pivot and it doesn't
Yeah.
take us weeks and months and years to do that anymore. So we've been creating you know, we uh we all buy houses, we all buy land, you know, you buy new cars. We have been very intentional about where we're putting our energy and exchange and what's coming out of that. So everything I've done since moving to Florida has been intentional for us, our family, and for anyone coming into that space, you know, that full transparency. So since we've been here, you know, creating that transformational space physically, I just want to kind of speak on that too. You know, our sanctuary stays, our retreats, the coaching, your coaching package, you know, your offerings. So there's so much that we could talk about. So if anyone wants to, you know, check out the websites and just kind of see what we're doing and the current events and what's happening, I would suggest to kind of stay current with us because we're going. So you can always look
Tina,
back at the archives. Yeah, you can look back at the archives. You can even look back at our past lives, so to speak. You know, I feel like we've had 100 of them here on this earth together this time. So, you know, wherever you show up, whatever chapter you guys show up to this divine show, you know, we welcome you and you know, whatever that looks like and whatever way you need, but also know that we're also living our lives. I think a lot of the times when I became you know, came out as a professional psychic, I always like worried about what everyone was going to think about that or the questions they would ask or the space that needed to be held. And so I kind of went through it in a spiritual way, so to speak. And you came into this in a very grounded, you talk about your leadership,
yeah,
right? And we
ground
can
game.
go, yeah, grounding. We can go back to saying we were saying the same thing. We were in alignment, but we were coming from different places. So a lot of people, it's like talking to a very analytical logic person and talking to a very creative, you know, outgoing person. There's different ways. So I know our message and our what we're putting out there in the world is going to hit and land differently with people. And so if you can really stay current with us and know that we are creating retreat space, you know, very individual. This is not something we've shared with the public fully yet because it hasn't been ready. It has
Yeah.
been being cultivated. I know, Tage, you're using the word cultivation. I know what that word means now because of you guys, you know, and it deeply resonates with sharing about this stuff, but maybe it's not always the right place to share. So if you would
Mhm.
like to know more information, you know, on what we're doing, it would be amazing for you to reach out to us, you know, really connect with us and connect back. So we can create those bridges, like Tage was saying. These bridges get to be built by all of us. And there are some of us going out there creating and creating, but I think the inspiration of asking other builders and architects and creators to come with, you know, join our
Yeah.
community.
I mean, I never would have considered myself a creative. I was in I was in it. I was in corporate America. I was, you know, I was anything but that. And I think a lot of the times we're creative and we don't even recognize it or realize it. And when we step out of that for a second, whether it's a retreat, whether it's listening to a podcast, whether it's going to a conference, whatever it is, we step out of that a little bit and it gives us this open space to think about what do I really want? Like, what do I really want? You know, because life is so busy and it goes so fast that all of a sudden we wake up and for me, I woke up and I was like, what is going on? Like, how did I get here? How did this even happen? You know? And when we're not intentional about that space, so I love that you're talking about space, Courtney, because when we're not intentional about that space, life controls us. Life takes over. Life will take us where we're going, and we're just along for the ride, letting it happen. And that's what I was doing. And so we get to take control of that, taking that control back, taking your power back. And it looks different for everyone. And so again, that's why we create these spaces, so that we can really support people to figure that out. And the whole ground game and spirit game, as Courtney, you know, she's always been a powerful spiritual healer. It was probably about 5 years ago when I was actually like, oh yeah, you're a powerful spiritual healer. I get what that means now, because I didn't get her at all, probably the whole time she was growing up, because she's very spiritual, very creative. She's talking to spirits, and I'm thinking she's crazy, right? Because I'm in my old programming about what that looks like. So what's so powerful today, and what I can say with so much confidence and conviction, what's so powerful today is that when we come together and we support people, whether it's one-on-one or in a group, we've got spirit game and we've got ground game, and we can wrap that person in so much love and reverence. I'm gonna use your word, Teige. Wrap that person or those people or that situation in so much love and so much grace and so much empowerment, where we literally hand over the tools to that person and help and support them to rise up, right? Like, it's so amazing and it's so beautiful. And again, like you said it before, I still pinch myself that I get to do this work every single day with you. I never imagined that it would be this amazing and sweet. Never imagined in a million years. And it's a dream come true for sure. And there's so much more to do.
Always,
Yeah.
always. Well, and on that note, since there's so much more to do and everyone gets to stay tuned and keep up to date with everything coming up, I would love for you both to share your information about how people can find you and connect authentically.
I'll let you go first, Court.
Okay. Authentically. I will be behind the scenes, and Tina Paulus-Krause will be on front center stage. But no, we are creating, you can find me on Crystal Clear Connections. We are creating retreat centers. Our thing virtually right now, that's more of a physical thing to come to us, you know, and be in our space. But the membership, I really want to highlight the membership and what we're doing with this membership. And we're again cultivating and expanding, and it's evolving at a rate just like what we're doing. You know, it's this evolution is happening so fast that it's like, just keep up, stay tuned, you know, watch where we're going. For me, that terrifies me because I don't want people to look at me, but I want them to listen, you know, listen to our story, and listen to your own story, you know. So for me, I always get uncomfortable when you say to come, you know, where am I? Because it's really just stay tuned and check the website and crystalclearconnections.com, and Instagram. We're very live on Instagram. So just stay tuned for all things coming from us.
I love you. So here's the thing, Courtney's whole life, like
Not the
I've
promoter.
known, I know. I've known how incredibly powerful she is. So my whole, like, her mom experience is me going, go get on stage, go, go. You're amazing. You're wonderful. And I would keep, you know, like pushing her to that. And it caused a lot of this because that was my vision, my dream, not hers. Right. And so one day she's like, no, mom, I want you to be out there. I want to be backstage. I was like, what? Like, what? Again, clarity, right? Like, we created clarity in what it is that we really wanted. And so I'm like, okay. And you're still freaking amazing, right? So where that really all comes into play is when we can play together. And where we can play together is at the retreat center in Florida and in the membership. So the membership is our way to support people in the everyday. Right? Because it's one thing you're listening to this podcast, you'll have a little bit of inspiration. Maybe you take one or two things away. That's amazing. You go to a conference, you hear it, but we go back into our regular life and we get distracted, right? We get distracted with life and work and family and things that are going on and all that kind of stuff. And we don't always implement and grow in the way that we really intend to. So this membership, Courtney has this amazing check-in and check-out process, right? Where like every week, let's check in and let's set our intentions for the week and let's, create that foundation. And then at the end of the week, we're checking out how'd it do, and she's there to support and stuff like that. So it's this amazing, it's all about your environment. It's all about who you're hanging out with, where are you spending your time, what are you consuming? You consuming or creating? And so it's a way for us to hold you on the day to day, right? I'm going to be in there doing lives. We're going to have stuff in there that is always going to be value added and stuff like that. But it's a way for us to support you to stay on your goals. It's a way to have a coach, right? And have us on both the spiritual and the ground game, like leadership end of it, like literally handing over the keys to the kingdom to you. Literally, and that's what the whole membership is all about, keys, right? It's about keys to unlock and access all that gorgeousness that you've got going on inside, because it's amazing in there. And you are the only one that's holding yourself back from accessing it. I was the only one holding myself back from accessing what I knew that I wanted, and I needed a coach. I got to have a coach to help me do that. And that's really what we're about, is what can we do to support you to your next level? What can we do to support you to step into your full power? What can we, so those are the spaces that we're creating, whether it's on Your Leadership Legacy, whether it's Courtney's Crystal Clear Connections membership, whether it's Burnout to Bliss. We have a monthly free workshop where we do that. We're getting ready to introduce a 4-month leadership class. So if you're really into it and you really want to take yourself on and you want to do it really fast, Global Leadership Academy or Experience is a way to do that. But like literally offering all of these spaces for you to get out of the noise, for you to come in and just quiet down and listen to your own intuition and listen to what it is that your voice is really telling you that you want. Because when you tap into that, now we can support you to start creating it.
That was beautiful. That's
So
our
beautiful.
promoter, folks.
And thank you too for both sharing so deeply, so vulnerably. Like showing up is one thing, it's a matter of how deep are you willing to go. So thank you both for really, going deep, so that this work of I feel like it's always excavation work. It's like bringing everything to the surface and then what do we have, and going through. So,
Yes.
Thank you for both doing that inner work yourselves. Like just honor, so much honor, so much literal reverence for both of you, for going through your journeys, for being you authentically and showing up even when it's uncomfortable, because these big transformations are going to happen when more people can see those transformations occurring.
Right.
You got it.
Yep, absolutely. And next show, I will be back in the seat. I'm taking control back.
Well, and on that note, you go ahead and take that control back, Tina, and you go ahead and you can send us.
Oh, I
Sign
get
us
to
out.
end us.
Sound
That's
good?
amazing. Because what I get to do in doing that, Teige, is really honor you, right? I've done 100 of these episodes and I've been in control of every single one of them. And when we started talking about, somebody else taking over and doing a couple of the episodes, I mean, I had to like work myself through that and trust. And you've been amazing. And I just really want to thank you.
Yeah,
For
thank you,
not only that, but just for being a part of the team and for all the amazingness that you bring to the team and how awesome you are.
Oh, thank
You're
you
the
so
best.
much, Tina.
What did you say, Court?
I said thank you, and you're the best. Really appreciate you.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. As you two are the best. Like, this is why we come together,
And stay tuned for more.
Yes, very much.
Yes. We got lots coming. So that is this episode of Your Leadership Legacy. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will be back for 100 more. Stay tuned. Bye.
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 My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.